The intention today is to be able to heal and move forwards from your past. Now, quick question. What do most of us do when it comes to our past? What we try to do, if it's a negative past, is that we try to forget about it, right? If we've had terrible experiences that happened in our past, trauma, whatever it may be, we try to typically forget about it. Some of us do that in unhealthy ways by numbing it out, drugs, addiction, other things. Some of us find ourselves in the same situations over and over and over and over again, wondering why. And some of us, which you're going to become one of them, are able to alchemize this, are able to change the meaning to which we assigned the story, to be able to break free from it once and for all. Because here's the thing, the past, and I know this is going to sound crazy, the past didn't hurt you. The past is not what hurt you. What hurt you is the meaning to which you assigned to that story, that past. Without the meaning, it wouldn't have hurt you. It would have just been a thing that happened. But whatever meaning that you gave to it and internalized that, that is what caused you the suffering. For example, maybe as a child, you had terrible things happen to you. And the meaning you gave that as a little child, a little baby, a little boy, little girl, is I'm unworthy. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve this. I'm unlovable. Whatever it may be. Maybe you've been cheated on. Maybe you've gone through a terrible divorce. And the meaning you gave that is because I'm a bad person. I don't deserve things. I'm ugly. And that is what's causing the suffering. That is the pain. And I'll tell you right now before we dive in, is that the pain that you feel, that sadness, it feels so bad because it's not real. And your soul wants you to remember that. Your soul wants you to remember who you actually are. And it wants you to let go of that story, of that pain. So today, my goal is to help you walk you through this once and for all. So you can heal, you can move forwards with your life, change your inner story to a way that empowers you and helps you get to where you want to go. So let's dive in. When you think about the past, I'm going to take a multiple standpoints on this. But again, like we talked about, most people, when it comes to their past, they try to forget about it. But the reason why they can't run away from their past is because what happens is that the past became a part of their identity. The past became a part of their identity. And what I mean by that, identity is created through thought and emotion, held over time. So what would happen is that the event happened, right? So the event happened. You made it mean something about you personally. And then that meaning became a part of your personal identity. And then that identity create the emotional charge, and the emotion is what keeps it alive. For example, if you wake up in the morning and after 60 seconds or so of waking, you already have anxiety, you're already having worries. It's not coming from the present. You can't experience that in the present. What's happening is that you're living up in your mind and you're thinking about past things, and it's bringing up all this stuff, and it's causing the same program to replay over and over and over and over and over again. And eventually that becomes a new normal, becomes a part of your nervous system. And then you go through your life, and whatever that past event was, you're constantly on alert and you're constantly triggered. And every time something similar happens, it triggers you and you feel that emotional charge and it brings it back to life. And you experience it in the now over and over and over again. So, one thing we want to understand here is that the mind will replay what's not resolved, but also the identity wants to stay true. Your identity, your ego, it's all part of the animal brain. The animal brain's job is safety and security. It wants predictability, it wants consistency. So it tries to hold on to the past and the future to be able to create consistency, to create that flow. And this is why, again, a lot of people who had terrible events happen to them, they find themselves in those events over and over and over again. They keep getting cheated on. They keep finding alcoholic partners. They keep getting abused, all this stuff. Even for example, fibromyalgia. Did you know that we just say it's fibromyalgia, but we don't actually know what causes it? But there is a huge connection between childhood trauma and fibromyalgia. It makes you think, right, about that energy stored, that emotion stored. And if we know anything about the law of attraction, if that is your most dominant state of being, that is what you're constantly attracting into your life. If we know anything about neuroscience, the brain filters out what does not serve it. So if you believe that you're unworthy because of that situation that happened when you're younger and it made you feel so sad, number one, you're attracting that into your life. But number two is that you're only focused on it as well. So it's this constant cycle that doesn't end. And that's why we're going to go through a couple different ways about this today is science and spirituality. So if we take the scientific standpoint, we want and to really set ourselves free from the past, we're going to focus on three things. We have shift the meaning because again, the past is not the thing that is hurting you. It's the meaning that you assign to that past. So we're going to shift the meaning. So then we're going to shift the emotional charge around it. And then third is shifting the story that you create around it to empower you moving forwards. Okay, so first and foremost, the event happened to you when you're younger or whenever, right? And then you assign some sort of meaning around that event. And that event made you feel some sort of way. And then now your body's probably in a fight or flight state after it. So you're constantly thinking and feeling this way over and over and over again. Now it starts to become part of your identity. Now it's kind of embodied into your nervous system. So now your day-to-day life, you're constantly staying alert and easily triggered whenever an event pops up that relate to that story. And again, as we know about the identity, is those thoughts and feelings create the identity. And eventually we start to assign beliefs around that, right? So I felt this way and this happened to me because I'm unworthy. And that starts to feel sad. So now we have these beliefs that we are unworthy and that we're having these thoughts about our past now. And then we're feeling that way. And that's influencing the way we show up and act in our day-to-day lives over and over and over again. It's this never-ending cycle, right? We can try to forget it. We can try to avoid it. We can try to get away from those negative thoughts as much as possible, but they keep replaying and replaying and replaying. And again, it's not about running away from it. It's about facing it and alchemizing it. Change the meaning to which you gave the event. So, number one, the first step is awareness. When I say awareness is reflecting the story without judgment. Be curious because that's how you defeat fear. And again, the brain doesn't want to change. So as soon as it sees that it's trying to change, it's going to throw you so many curveballs. So when you practice awareness, you want to observe without reacting and without giving judgment. Just observe with curiosity. What's the story that I tell myself about the situation? What did I make this mean about me personally? What do I tell myself over and over again? What is the consistent theme or pattern that seems to keep showing up in my life from this situation? Observe that way. That will give you very clear and specific answers of what you might be searching for. What identity did I create from this? Ask yourself those questions there. As soon as you're clear and aware on the story, on the meaning that you gave it, right? The meaning I gave it is that I don't matter. Okay? Now you want to separate yourself from it. When I say separate yourself from it, realize this. That's the story I gave it, but that's not who I am. I recognize now this is an event that happened. This is an event that happened. And I gave it this certain specific meaning, which started to become who I thought I was. But now I remember that I am so much more than that. I am the person I was before this event, and I am the person I was after this event, during this event, and I'm all of it. And I recognize that now. So I do not need to connect myself with this story any longer. I choose to separate myself from it. After you're able to awareness and then separating yourself from it, now you can shift it. Now that I recognize that it's not true that I'm worthless and that that's the meaning that I gave the situation that happened to me, now that I realize that, what is the new meaning that I do want to give it to me? What is a new meaning that I want to give this? Well, now I can ask myself, how did this serve me? What did this teach me? What strengths did this embody into me that I love about myself? What did this do for me that actually helped me in my future? And now you're shifting your focus. So now you're not so focused on all the bad things that happen, getting caught up in the story and giving the negative meaning. Now you're recognizing the full truth and you're starting to shift it. And now you're giving it a new empowering meaning. So this is where your life is going to change because now you're learning the lesson. So there's no reason for it to repeat itself, but also you're interrupting the pattern So there's no reason to repeat itself. Pattern as in you're starting to change your identity. You're no longer that unworthy person who felt that way, who thinks that way about themselves. So now they don't need to go on alert on their day-to-day lives and look for triggers because the meaning about the story is different now. So that emotional charge is starting to die down. So now you focus on the new empowering thoughts and feelings about what it did teach you and what it did taught and what it taught you and all the things that you took away from it. And then you take that and you embody it. You integrate it. Somatic work, breath work, meditation, whatever you got to do, make it a part of your actual being. Keep focused on it. Every time old triggers and patterns pop up, separate yourself from it. Recognize it's the old self trying to come alive and say, I don't need to react to it anymore because that doesn't mean that way to me anymore. That was just a story, but it's not who I am. And that doesn't mean that anymore. That taught me so much. That actually made me who I am today. And I'm grateful. See, now you are just becoming unstoppable. Like now, when you do that, you're not a victim. You're in full ownership and stepping into your true freaking power. Now you're crushing it. So after you shift it, then you integrate it and it starts to become who you actually are. And you change those consistent thoughts and those emotions that you have about yourself. You let go of those limiting beliefs, those fears that whatever it programmed into you, and you step into who you really are. Because here's what I'll say from a spiritual standpoint is that my belief is that we all have souls and that we are consciousness experiencing itself and we are all one at the end of the day. And that time and space is only created for the help of the illusion of separation and in this 3D world. Because if you look around in this world, in this 3D world that we live in, if there was no time and space, we'd all just be one thing, right? Everything would just be, and it'd be all just energy, all connected. So we had time and space to kind of separate ourselves. But if you look at it through that lens, that everything is happening here and now, then you can start to observe your situation in a different lens, right? Well, if everything is happening here and now, I am conscious and experiencing itself. This event happened in the so-called past, which does not exactly exist. What's existing is here and now. What? Why would I choose to hold on to these stories and these old thoughts? How would that be serving me? How would that be helping me? Now you're looking at it through a complete new, so empowering way. And that is going to help you so much as well. Again, by letting go, learning the lessons, and moving forwards with your life. And that is the training for today. But I hope this helped you. I really do hope this helped you. My intention is that if you're dealing with something in your past, something happened to you as a child, if you went through some trauma, if you had a divorce or anything like that that just caused you such pain, my intention is that you take these tools, you take this teaching, and you truly do apply it so you can move forwards in your life. Because I don't want to see you suffer. Nobody wants to see you suffer, and your soul doesn't want to see you suffer either. So let's heal, let's rise, let's get better, and let's assign that story in a new, powerful lens moving forwards. If you got anything from this, like, subscribe, send it to a friend who might need it, and I'll see you on the next training.